People get heated when they're talking about anime. People love to gush about anime that they find amazing, and the only thing that people really seem more passionate about than that is talking about shows they hate. Today, me and my friend Tyler Doe will be talking about 4 anime that people seem to love to hate. It can honestly feel like a lot of the time people just hate these shows because it's popular to hate it. And don't get me wrong, some of these shows that we're going to be talking about are absolutely dog duty. But the level of hate that they get goes way beyond that. There are a ton of bad shows out there, but how often do they really get flamed like these shows? Some of these series even get hate just because they are amazing and loved, but people start talking about them so much that these smooth brains with the "yeah, but Goku is stronger" mentality start comparing them to others. For example, Demon Slayer. Super solid show. It looks gorgeous, the music is great, the story is pretty solid, admittedly has a bit of a slow pace at the beginning, but people hate on this show because it isn't a perfect show compared to this or that. Like, bruh, just enjoy something fun. If you don't, then just let other people enjoy it. Demon Slayer specifically has been super funny to me since I moved to Japan, because while anime fans in the West have turned on it like a bunch of animals, all of the anime fans out here in Japan genuinely seem to love it. I have students from 5 years old to 55 years old who talk about how much they love this show and how much it brings them and their friends together. It is super refreshing to just have a community of anime fans who are just there to be positive about a show rather than hate it because other people like it. With that being said, today I will be talking about Fairy Tail and Boruto, while Tyler talks about Sword Art Online and Demon Slayer. If you enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more anime content. Plus, we also did a video over on Tyler's channel a few days ago, which I'll link down below and at the end card. That being said, let's get into it. So as I said up top, not every show that gets hate is a work of art. And that brings us to Boruto. This might be the single most hated anime of all time. I have never seen such universal disdain for a series. But let's be honest, does this show really deserve this much hate? Is it so unwatchable that the entire world should collectively drop Dookie on it? Well, that's kind of complicated. On its own, is it horrible? Well, horrible might be a strong word. It's kind of just average all the way around. Maybe a little bit below average, honestly. It's nothing offensive, but it's also not anything special in any way that I noticed. That being said, tons of people enjoy it, so good on them. I watched maybe 60 or 70 episodes, but I could never just really latch onto the show. I'd probably give it a 4 or 5 out of 10. That being said, it's not anything crazy terrible either. The major issue that Boruto has is it's a sequel. And most importantly of all, it's a sequel to one of the most famous, impactful, and beloved anime of all time. On its own, Boruto is manageable and inoffensive, but when people begin to compare it to Naruto, it is easy to see why people would get upset, and it is totally fair to do so. They're in the same story. Naruto was great despite the ending, so for Boruto to pick up on the idea of Kaguya and the space aliens, which was probably the most hated plot twist of all time, while also being a more slowly paced series, it just rubbed people the wrong way. People don't seem to hate Boruto itself so much as they hate the fact that it kind of spits on the face of Naruto's legacy. You might think that that's an exaggeration, but one of the biggest crimes an anime series can commit in this community is to depreciate the reputation of a beloved anime, especially because it can come off as a money grub. Boruto did this with Naruto for sure. Dragon Ball GT did this with Dragon Ball Z. The list goes on and on. Even on a smaller scale, we see people disliking the second half of Death Note because they don't think it holds up as well as the first half does. And when many people consider the first half to be perfect, even that much of a change can rub people the wrong way. So when you consider that Naruto finished and they revived it only to kind of lessen its appeal, you can kind of get where things are coming from. And I think that really says a lot about how there's a ton of series that are solid or at least okay on their own, but we still hate them nearly universally, simply because they're just poorly done sequels.
Hey guys, Tyler Doe here. Exelian has brought me on this video to talk about 2 shows that people love to hate. I'll admit, one of the shows that I chose is one of those shows that I also love to hate on a bit, and the other, well, let's just say it's quite the opposite of that. The first show that I chose is, you guessed it, Sword Art Online. Now I'll be honest, I actually really enjoyed Sword Art Online for about 5 minutes, then it divulges into complete and utter silliness from there on. And the silliness is really what I think most people have a problem with. Take Kirito for example. This dude is so OP that I have heard power scalers having a hard time deciding who would win in a fight, him or Ultra Instinct Goku. No, but seriously, you put us in this world where the stakes are very high, and then you make the main character so overpowered that it no longer feels like it has any sense of danger when there definitely should be. When you have a main character that is so overpowered like Kirito, you at least expect him to be funny, relatable, charismatic, or, something of that nature, right? Well, no, not right. Kirito is just interesting enough to trick you into thinking that the show has a chance at being good, but then rips it all away from you whenever you find out that playing a video game or two in the outside world makes you virtually a god in this one. Another reason for all the hate would have to be the way that the concept is almost completely wasted on the show. It may not be the first show to feature being sent to a game world, and it won't be the last, but it spent a lot of time making the world seem really fun and cool, so it's sad that, with the exception of a couple of hidden gems, it is completely wasted by lazy writing and an unrelatable main character. Also, what's up with this, air quote, antagonist? This dude is so evil that he can't figure out why he's even doing what he's doing. The only saving grace is the fact that Sword Art Online Alicization is a thing, but it can't get too much traction due to the fact that it's virtually impossible to say without a degree in linguistics. To sum it all up, I think that people, like me, love to hate on Sword Art Online because of its lazy writing and also due to the fact that it's so immensely popular. The first part is important, the lazy writing. Just because a show is popular doesn't mean you have to have a negative opinion on it, which is why I have a problem with my next show getting so much hate. Demon Slayer. It may be a bit hypocritical for me to love to hate on Sword Art Online for being so popular and then say, but you can't do that with Demon Slayer, but hear me out. Sword Art Online is an entertaining-ish popcorn show with good animation. Demon Slayer is a modern classic that is more entertaining, has better animation, and makes you eat more popcorn. Well, you know what I mean. To me, drawing a comparison to the two is almost blasphemous. By the way, I know it's a bit of a meme to call something a modern classic in this day and age, but I was genuinely surprised whenever I found out that something this good can come out in 2019. I mean, it felt like pretty much everything that was coming out in the modern day was just subpar compared to everything that had came out in the past. The reason why I brought that up in the first place is to say that, unlike Sword Art Online, you shouldn't just hate this show because it's popular. You shouldn't hate SAO just because it's popular either. You should hate it for all of those problems that I mentioned earlier. Anyways, Demon Slayer has some of the best, most lovable characters in the genre, and has single-handedly redefined both what a main character can be and what a female lead can be. This show is not interested in what was done before in the genre, it is only worried about what it wants to do and how it wants to do it. Demon Slayer receives most of its hate due to people being upset that it's so popular. Sure, sometimes it gets a little too much hype, but that alone shouldn't be your entire reason for disliking a show. If you're gonna say something negative about the show, say something actually negative about the show and not just the fact that it's super popular. I hear less of, I hate Demon Slayer because Zenitsu is so freaking annoying, which is a valid criticism, and more of like, yeah, the show is okay, but it gets way too much hype. Fam, no. With a few exceptions here or there, Demon Slayer is fully deserving of all of the love that it gets in my opinion. Is it perfect? Obviously not. But I find that the reasons that people give for why they don't like this show are downright uncompelling, and sometimes it just feels like they're trying to be contrarian. It's just now hitting me that this is my first time ever ending a collab, so I don't really know what to do, but thank you for having me in this video, Axel. I really appreciate it. Check out my channel if you get a chance. It's Tyler Doe, signing out. Bye.
Next up, we have Fairy Tail. Now, I'm gonna be upfront and say that I genuinely like Fairy Tail. Do I think it's the best show ever? No. Do I think the plot is fantastic? Not at all. What the show is something fun to watch. You can just turn off your brain and just chill to enjoy it. But on top of that, it can also have some incredibly emotional and impactful scenes that make the show memorable and special to so many people. The balance between mindless fun and emotional scenes is what makes the show so loved by so many people, and it's this combination of good times and bad times that makes you feel like you're really part of the guild and engaged in the series. This aspect is kind of copied with the Straw Hats in One Piece and the Ninja of Konoha in Naruto. And here is where the weakness is. To some people, it is impossible to like Fairy Tail when these other shows exist. It's impossible to like a show if the story isn't perfect, right? You can't watch a show for the fun of it. I think it's safe to say that Fairy Tail's biggest crime is that it's a more or less popular shonen in the same period as Bleach, One Piece, and Naruto came out. It isn't so much that the show is awful as it is that people have this weird mindset that because it isn't as good as the other big shonen on a technical level, it just shouldn't be something that people enjoy. But the thing is, most people who like Fairy Tail also like Naruto. They also like Bleach, they also like One Piece. Liking Fairy Tail isn't stopping them from liking any of those other shows, so I don't understand why the reaction when someone says that I like Fairy Tail is so over the top so often. Shows like Dragon Ball Z are, in my opinion, much worse or at least less entertaining than the generation of shonen which followed it, and this includes Fairy Tail. You want to talk about a mindless plot that you can just turn your brain off and enjoy? We can talk about Dragon Ball Z. And yeah, people will bring up things like Vegeta's growth, or Gohan taking down Cell, Goku and Frieza, but it's not like Fairy Tail doesn't have moments like these. I would say that Fairy Tail has more of these moments. Now, in fairness, Dragon Ball Z is probably as popular as it is because in some way or another it's innovative for its time. And that's fine, but it's also okay for shows not to be innovative. Sometimes they're just fun. But people act as though it's natural to like Dragon Ball Z, but liking Fairy Tail is insane because the show doesn't have any depth or stakes, and I just don't understand how they're okay with one show but not the other. I think the big complaints that people might have in this specific situation is that Fairy Tail seems more goofy and like the stakes don't matter because no one usually dies. But at the same time, it's okay for a show to be funny, and you want to talk about stakes not mattering because no one dies? They literally have a dragon in Dragon Ball Z that brings people back to life and can allow them to make any wish. You want to talk about stakes not mattering? There you go. But again, I like Dragon Ball Z. And it's not a competition. People are able to like more than one series at a time and for different reasons. It's not like just because you've seen Bleach, Naruto, or One Piece you have to hate Fairy Tail, and if it isn't for you, that's totally okay. But the level of hate that this series receives when it's a totally average show is absolutely beyond me. And there you have it, these are 4 shows that people genuinely seem to love to hate. What other shows do you think should be on this list? Let me know in the comments down below, as well as if you think that those shows should be hated or not. I'd also like to hear your opinion on what we said in this video. Remember, you guys should definitely go check out Tyler's channel. Like I said, we have a video over there. It's a pretty good one. You should check it out. Link will be in the description, in the comments, and at the end of the video. You can also subscribe to this channel and leave a like if you enjoyed, but with all that being said, this has been AxelBeats, and until next time, stay excellent.